What's up, everybody? This is Jake at jakecpunut.com. Just want to talk to you about the Mr. Beer, give you a little update on that. If you go back and watch the other videos, I did a little video on the kit and what all was in it, and talked about that a little bit. And then I had another short video on the process of making the beer. It was very simple, very easy to do, and at the last step, I put the wort in the fermenter and pitched the yeast and basically set it aside for it to ferment. I was going to do a video of me bottling the beer, but the day I bottled the beer, I thought Misty had the camera, so I didn't video it, but I'll go through the little steps right quick and explain it and show you what's going on. It's very simple. Like I say, there's a ton of videos. Well, not a ton, but there's a lot of videos out there of people where people have done these step by step on the Mr. Beer and everything else. Out there, the Coopers and the all grain stuff where you do it from scratch and all that. But I'm using the Mr. Beer kit, and so far it's doing great. And like I say, if you go back and watch the other videos, you'll see the beginning process and what I did from the beginning. Mr. Beer says that you can have beer in 2 weeks, which is 7 days fermenting and 7 days carbonating in the bottles. And then you can put it in the fridge for a few hours and drink your beer. And you can do that. But as soon as I got the Mr. Beer kit, I joined a forum and read a lot of other forums and a lot of posts and watched a lot of videos from people that had, and talked to a lot of people that had done this for a long time, and everybody recommends the 2-2-2 method, which is instead of Mr. Beer says 7 days fermenting and 7 days carbonating in the bottle and a few hours in the fridge, and you can drink it. Like I say, all the veterans and everybody says 2 weeks fermenting and 2 weeks carbonating in the bottle and 2 weeks cold conditioning in the refrigerator. So that's what I decided to go with because, like I say, most people recommended it. So I didn't quite make it the full 2 weeks fermenting. It stayed in the Mr. Beer fermenter, little brown keg I showed you in the other video, the first video, or first and second video. I went 12 days in the fermenter, and the only reason I did that, I didn't wait the full 2 weeks because it ended up on a Tuesday, and I had something going on that Tuesday, so the Sunday before, I decided to go ahead and bottle it. And the bottling process was very simple, and I'll just tell you about it. You've seen the bottles in the first video. You sanitize them just like you sanitize the equipment you use to make your batch. Sanitizing is very important. Sanitize the bottles, the lid, anything that's going to come in contact with your beer, your brew needs to be sanitized, and you need to pay careful attention to that. So everything was sanitized on my bottles with the one-step solution. Basically, you just mix up a gallon of solution, put your one-step solution there, shake it up, pour. Your bottle's half full, put the lids on, shake them up, let them sit for 10 minutes. I ended up putting my lids in some solution and letting them soak. I had a little funnel I used to put my sugar in my bottles. Sanitized all that. Everything was sanitized. And then basically you take your batch, that you've made that's sitting in your fermenter, your beer, basically, that's ready to ferment, ready to bottle after it's fermented. And the bottles I was using, remember, is the bottles that came with the Mr. Beer kit, which is the 1 liter PET plastic reusable bottles. So when you get ready to bottle, you add your primer. There's different ways of doing that. Now that I've gotten into this, I've learned so much, but the way it's recommended with the Mr. Beer kit and the way I did it, you add your primer to each bottle, which is basically, for this size bottle, 1.5 teaspoons of sugar, regular old table sugar. Some people use corn sugar, some people use powdered sugar. I just use regular old cane sugar, out of a bag. So I believe that's going to be fine. I don't think it's going to affect the taste from whatever I've read. But basically what you do is you take your bottles, you sanitize them, put my funnel on top of the bottles. I measure out 1.5 teaspoons for each bottle of cane sugar, dump the sugar in the bottles. Then I go to my fermenter with each bottle, and it's got a spout on it, as you saw, and fill the bottle up to a certain point, put on the lid, tighten it real good, give it just a little bit of shake, and set it aside. And again, Mr. Beer says to let it condition, or carbonate, I'm sorry, carbonate in the bottle for at least 7 days, but I'm going for the 2 weeks. But I did cheat, and I'll tell you that in a minute. The bottles, there are 8 of them, and they ended up perfect. All 8 bottles were filled, so it worked out great. So I was pleased with that. And the way the bottling process works, just to give you a little hint, and like I say, I know a lot of you may not know, but a lot of this stuff is common sense to a lot of people. But since I'm doing this for people that may not know, I'll go ahead and explain just a little bit. But after the beer has fermented in the Mr. Beer keg, or the Mr. Beer fermenter, it's ready to bottle. And when you put the little bit of sugar in the bottles, that's your priming sugar. And what happens is, when you put the beer in the bottle and seal it up, that yeast that's in your beer continues to eat on that sugar that you put in there. And again, it starts producing alcohol, a little more alcohol, and CO2. But since the CO2 can't escape like it does in the fermenter, because the bottle's sealed, then it's forced into the beer. So it's carbonated. It's forced carbonated, I believe is the correct term for it. So that is the carbonating process. And like I say, I'm going to leave them up for 2 weeks, but I did after 7 days. And the beers that I have, the 8 liter bottles that I have, are right on 10 days right now. So Sunday will be the full 2 weeks, and I will put them all in the refrigerator downstairs, my little beer cooler, for another 2 weeks to cold condition. Right now, these bottles have been sitting in the same place the fermenter was, which I have a pretty controlled temperature environment in here. It fermented right at 70 degrees for the full 12 days. The bottles are in the same situation. They're carbonating at the same temperature. And I've learned that yeast, different yeast for ales and lagers, and different types of yeast have to ferment and carbonate at different temperatures. So everything's been carbonating for 10 days except one bottle. And one bottle, after 1 week, after 7 days, I took it and went ahead and conditioned it downstairs. So since this past Sunday, that bottle has been downstairs in the refrigerator. So that'll be Thursday. Tomorrow I'm planning on tasting that bottle. So it will have conditioned in the refrigerator for 4 days. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to the first taste test of my West Coast Pale Ale, which is what came with the Mr. Beer kit that I got. So looking forward to that. The other 7 bottles are sitting here, and they're doing great. I can tell they're nice and rock hard. I'll grab one of them and show you. You can tell by squeezing on them, that the carbonation is taking place, and they're really firm. You can't hardly press on this one. There's a couple of them that will give a little more. So I don't know if maybe I didn't get as much in those, or I don't know, but we'll see. According to what I've read, everything's going great. So I'm hoping when I pop a top on one, it's going to taste really, really good. So looking forward to it. And that's about it. So tomorrow, when I do the taste test on the bottle, that I've done a little early, I'll definitely video it and give you a little report. And like I say, this batch is going in the refrigerator Sunday for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to share it with some friends and get their opinions. And I've already got some another extract ordered, which is a Wiki Stick Oatmeal Stout. So I'm looking forward to get that going. Should have had something here already and had it going, but I was a little slack on getting my next batch in here. So as soon as it gets in here, I'll get it going and see how that turns out. And looking to step up to the 5-gallon batches pretty soon. So anyway, just want to give you an update. Appreciate you coming by the blog. Be sure and check out the other videos. And if you're interested in any of this stuff, have any questions, be sure to comment. Let me know what you think. If I'm doing anything wrong, or if you got any suggestions, about this home brewery stuff, be sure to give me a shout out. Let me know. I'm new at it, but I'm enjoying it. It's a lot to learn. It's a lot to absorb. There's so much to it, so much you can learn. But it's a cool hobby. I enjoy it. So appreciate you coming by the blog. Hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Going to kick back to my George Killian's Irish Red. Enjoy the evening with my sweetie Misty, and we'll talk to you soon.